Well, hey there and welcome to the football show. Thanks for tuning in and downloading. Make sure that you share this podcast with other people that like football. Yes, we have some regional people on. Yes, we have some national people on. But all in all, if you have someone that you know that likes football, they may get something from this show. Also, please rate and review this show. Give us 5 stars. Leave a comment on there, something positive. Also, another way to follow the show is over on Twitter, and I have another podcast that I'm kind of taking a break from called the Horrible Movie Podcast, and it's literally just exactly that. But our Twitter handle is @OneHorribleMovie. It's a great way to follow things I post on this show. And then also you can email thefootballshowusa@gmail.com. Any suggestions you have. The next few weeks will be like this episode where I have a guest on and they have submitted a story and it's pretty darn good. You're going to really enjoy what Coach Rader has to say. Coach Luke Rader is the head coach at Stockton High School, and he before that was at Lockwood. And before that, he was at Stockton. But he played high school football at Lockwood. He played college football. And he is a treasure of great stories. His dad, Mike, coached for a long time, won a lot of games, and is highly successful. Luke is highly successful. You're going to really enjoy this. Here he is, talking about team, talking about persevering, talking about overcoming the odds. Here he is. Coach Luke Rader, and then tune in after Luke and I will put a little bow on the end of this thing, and we'll see you soon. Here he is, Coach Luke Rader.
Alright, Jack has asked me to record about a 10-minute story on football. Like so many others, it's hard to pick just one. The game has given us so many things, it's hard to narrow that down to just one story. I'm actually going to tell 3 different ones. I feel like they kind of all intertwine with the theme of kids kind of overcoming adversity, persistence, showing persistence, and maybe doing something that they shouldn't have done given the situation they were in, or just setting an example for future kids. So the first one is going back to 2012. I was the head coach in Stockton, Missouri. I'd been there. It was my 3rd year. Took over in 2010. They hadn't had a whole lot of success football-wise. There were several years where they kind of gotten close but could never quite get over the hump. Looking back, it was my first head coaching job. Looking back, I really had no clue what I was doing. I thought I did. I was very, very fortunate to be surrounded by some really, really good coaches and some good kids and good families that helped us find some success. So my first year, we struggled early. We managed to make the playoffs at the end of the season. We were very fortunate again, had administration that was supportive. Phil Lewis did a great job of making that playoff appearance into a huge deal. We had a pep rally for it, all sorts of things. And the kids kind of bought in after that. The next year we went 5-6. And then that 3rd year set the stage a little. 2012, we were 3-0. We go to play our rival school, Pierce City. They were also 3-0. They were very good. They had a lot of speed, and they were very explosive. We were a double wing team, so those of you who kind of know football, when I say double wing, I am not talking about the flex bone type stuff. I'm talking we were foot to foot, power, double wing, pulling everybody to the hole. So game starts, and it just felt like the entire game we would drive down the field and score, and then they would break a long run and score, and it was just back and forth the whole time. We end up finally getting a stop or two in the second half. We score 54 points without attempting a pass, which obviously when you're in the double wing that feels pretty good. But we hold on to win 54-44. The crowd stormed the field. It was a pretty neat deal to be a part of. And just a very, very special group that kind of got the whole community to buy in, got them behind them. Just a great group of kids. Next year we tied the school record for wins, but more than that, just how special that group was, and still talk to all those guys. We've got a group text that we'll get together in every once in a while, but just look back very, very fondly with that, not only the group of kids, but the group of coaches and how enjoyable that was. So the next one, fast forward to 2017, I was now at Lockwood, which is another small school in southwest Missouri. We're going to play in the district championship, which in Missouri, the district championship is the round of 16. So 16 schools left playing. We get on the bus to head up. We're going to play Adrian. I knew we had a good football team. They are a very tradition-rich program, very sound defensively. Knew it would kind of be a battle. And all of a sudden, our starting corner and Z receiver is throwing up everywhere. I mean, he's got the trash can back there, the whole bus ride up. It's about a 2-hour trip. He's throwing up. We get to Adrian. He's throwing up in the locker room. It's a concrete floor, and he's laying his face down on the floor because it's cold and he's so hot. And I'm thinking, is he going to be able to play? Is he all right? And that's kind of disgusting that he's laying his face on the locker room floor. And in today's world, we're thinking with all the COVID stuff and the mask and that sort of stuff, it's a little different. But at that time, you're still thinking he's going to play, even with the flu. Kids are over there talking to him, hey, man, we need you. And he keeps saying, I can't. And he keeps trying to get up and get dressed for the game, but every time he does, he gets sick and ends up throwing up. And finally, his dad shows up. His dad pulls his truck right up to the locker room door, and welcome to small school football, I guess, in southwest Missouri. But he comes in, and he's got all kinds of cold and flu medicine, and we actually carry him out to the truck and put him in the passenger seat, and he pumps him full of flu medicine. Jack was the kid's name. He sleeps through warm-ups. We're out there warming up, and he sleeps. And again, I feel like I need to give you some backstory. He was one of those kids where when you get on him, he always wanted to kind of put his hands up like, why are you telling me that? And we'd gone round and round about that. So we take the field. I'm out there talking to his backup, reassuring him. His backup is a sophomore kid who looked like he was scared to death. And as we're taking the field, Jack comes running out. He went in and got dressed. He only plays defense. He'd go out there defensively, would come off the field and have to go sit on the bench because just had no energy, no strength. Offensively, we put another kid out there as our Z receiver. But Jack ends up forcing a fumble and intercepts 2 passes. And after he intercepts the second pass, he came running off, and I hugged him and picked him up. Later, I thought maybe I shouldn't have done that because am I going to end up with the flu? But I told him, put your hands up, man, put your hands up. But we go down and score in the fourth quarter and win 8-0, win the district championship. The next week, we come from behind and win 40-33. And again, just an unbelievable group of kids that stuck together and cared about each other, and him fighting through that was one of the greatest things as a coach you experience. Same thing, I still talk to that group. We joke around when The Last Dance came out and they were talking about the Michael Jordan flu game. I was texting those guys, yeah, that's great and all, but how about the Jack Purinton flu game? That was something pretty special. So fast forward, last one is this past fall. I've taken the job at another school in southwest Missouri at Stockton. kind of saw a similar opportunity as Sir Coxey, where potential to grow something, I guess, to build a program, and that really excited me. I look back fondly at my time at Sir Coxey and really enjoyed that time, so saw the potential for that again. We go into this fall, we compete in several games, but it just felt like we could never get over the hump. It felt like every time we were close, we couldn't get a break, and things would go against us. So then COVID hits us just like everybody else. We have some kids quarantined, all that. Just a lot of adversity, just like everybody else faced this fall. But like I said, it just felt like every time we would get close to getting over the hump, something would kind of knock us backwards. So we roll into districts, and again, if you're out of state in Missouri, everybody plays a district game. So we're 0-9 going into districts, but we play a game. If you win, you move on. If you lose, you're done. And obviously when you're 0-9, you're probably a pretty big underdog, but all of a sudden we go out, we return the opening kickoff for a touchdown. And the kids are kind of, we might have a chance. And all of a sudden as it goes on, we return another kickoff for a touchdown. And suddenly we're up by a couple scores. And, funny story, I think Jack was actually at that game watching. And then all of a sudden we get a pick six towards the end of the half, and we go into half up 40-20, and we managed to hold on. And it was just there was just so much emotion that had built up throughout the season that just kind of poured out through that night when we managed to hold on and win. And like I said, all those breaks that kind of went against us throughout the fall all of a sudden went our way. And both for myself and the kids, I felt like just the emotion overpoured. And so those of you that have been in this profession, I think when you hit that emotional level with a group of kids, it just creates that bond that you'll forever have. And it's just a very special night, and hopefully it's something we build on going forward here at Stockton. So all three of those very emotional wins, and then like I said, just the group of kids. And as you get older, you start realizing how special that bond is. That group that was at Sir Coxey, that was the first group I was the head coach of, and just so many special things with them. And that group at Lockwood, and another thing I forgot to mention there, and my dad was on the staff there. My dad's a retired coach. He did it for, I believe, 37 or 38 years. And, when I was younger, I don't know that I really appreciated how special that time was spending with him. And so getting to go through those years with him, being a little older myself, and really appreciating that time. And when we won that district championship, you turn around and he's right there, and you've got that emotional high, and all of a sudden you're hugging your dad, and it's just really special. And then that group here at Stockton, like I said, just so many things we battled through this fall, and then all of a sudden you get that payoff at the end, and just really special times. And like I said, when you're in the coaching profession, those are the things you're doing it for. Obviously, if we ever figured out our pay by the hour, it would not be very good, but those things are just really, really special, and those are the jewels that we're working for. So the things we really appreciate it. Thanks for Jack for doing this. Really enjoy it.
Well, that was some excellent work by Coach Rader there. 3 phenomenal stories. How many times can I say phenomenal? I'll tell you, he talked about several things there, and our paths have crossed basically at every school he's been at, and every school I've been at, for the most part, they've always crossed up a little bit. We've been a part of a couple, 2, 3 or 4 really wild games where we both would have great teams, and it would be a back and forth type scenario. I remember 2 games that were back-to-back years when I was at Marionville, and then he was the head coach at Stockton. And it was one of them highly contested, and I am still reminded about it. I want to say weekly, but every month or so I'm reminded about it by Mr. Phil Lewis about when I was at Marionville, our onside kick against Stockton, and it was not well received, and it really was just to make sure that Stockton didn't get the ball back, because I didn't think defensively, and I was the D coordinator, I didn't think we could stop Stockton's offense if they got the ball back. It was late in the game, and it was one of those where it was a good time. I'll say that. Coach Rader's offense at the time was a double wing, really foot to foot, and just it was hard to stop. So much misdirection, good speed to the edge, and then it would just gut you with a fullback trap, and quarterback. It had a quarterback spin play that was just hard. It was hard to stop. So anyway, and then fast forward to the next year, we're playing at Stockton. And this is again when I was at Marionville at Stockton, and we're playing at Stockton, and we, I think we're down, and we forced them to punt, and our punt return guy, he puts his hand up just barely, and again, Coach Lewis, and I'm sure Coach Rader would say the same thing, that our punt return guy's waving his hand for a fair catch. He puts that hand up. The refs don't blow it fair catch or anything like that. Our kid catches it, takes it to the house. Honestly, that was probably the difference in the game. And it's one of those things. Like I said, all of our games seem to be that way. We play them again. When Coach Rader was at Lockwood, and those games were always highly contested, tough, well-fought games all the way around. Then again this year, we play at Stockton. We play Coach Rader's Stockton team. And what you got to know, he talked about this in his story about East Newton. You don't kick, in my experience of calling kickoffs against Coach Rader, and this is at every school he's ever been at, you cannot kick it to Coach Rader's team, because he's going to run the wall, and if you aren't disciplined and your kids aren't well coached on it, heads up, he's going to return it. So that's rule number 1. Don't kick it deep to any Coach Rader team. So anyway, good stuff. I appreciate it. I hope you all appreciated it. And thanks so much for listening. Be careful, and we'll come back next week with another story from another coach. Thanks so much for tuning in to the football show. We will see you down the road.